internally he's thinking like everything is taken care of, all is well, so why would I doubt? And then also in his flesh, in his body, he takes action from a state of courage, knowing that this is my state of being, so every action I take has no choice but to give me what I want. What's up, y'all? It's Evan. I'm back with another video. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Today we're reading Neville Goddard, and this is some gems in here that you really got to tap into. Okay, first thing I said though was that it is lack of this passionate direction to life that makes man fail of accomplishment. Okay, he said it is necessary to have an aim in life. Without an aim we drift. What wantest thou of me? Luke 18:41 is the implied question asked most often by the central figure of the Gospels. In defining your aim, you must want it, okay? Because to not have the aim, you lose sight, you drift, all right? The reason why this is important though is because I made a video just earlier talking about how once you start to change, once you decide your reality, people may come to you and be like, you're delusional, or that's unrealistic, or, you know, you need to do this, you need to do that, all of these different things. But truthfully, if you understand your aim and you fuse yourself to that aim, you don't let go of it, you just keep choosing you, there's no possible way that you could drift like it says in there, because you have direction, you know exactly where you're going, you know exactly what you need to do, and you can see your inspired action, you can see your opportunities, you can see all that you need to see in order to move forward. He said it is a lack of passionate direction in life that makes man fail of accomplishment. The spanning of the bridge between desire, thinking of, and satisfaction, thinking from, is all important. We must move mentally from thinking of the end to thinking from the end. Thinking of the end like it is mere possibility, and think from the end like it is already happening in this moment. Okay, because once you think of the end, it is as if that's just a possibility to me. I think of negative possibilities. I think of those, you know, that is possible to me because I am all that is. There's nothing that is not possible to me, right? But what I choose is what I'm thinking from. I'm thinking from the fact that I have all that I desire, because that is my choice. That is who I am. That is my identity. So I think from that. When you're driving in your dream car every single day, like you already have it, do you think from it? Or do you think of it? I'm not thinking of my car. I'm not thinking of it driving past me. I'm thinking from it because I'm in it. I'm driving it. This is my experience right now in this moment. Okay? We must move mentally from thinking of the end to thinking from the end. This reason could never do. Reason could never do that. The senses cannot do that. It doesn't have that power. It's not capable of it. That's why you don't need to doubt. You don't need to worry. You don't need to fear, because the senses can only see so much. It can only interact with so much. All right? This is 1% of reality that you can see around you. Less than 1% actually. This reason could never do. All right, the logical mind could never do that. But its nature, it is restricted to the evidence of the senses. But imagination, having no such limitation, can. Desire exists to be gratified in the activity of imagination. Through imagination, man escapes from limitation of the senses and the bondage of reason. There is no stopping the man who can think from the end. Nothing can stop him. This is fly trying to fly in my mouth. Move. He creates the means and grows his way out of limitation into ever greater and greater mansions of the Lord. It does not matter what he has been or what he is. All that matters is what does he want. What do you want? Because that's all that matters. Choose what you want. He knows that the world is a manifestation of the mental activity which goes on within himself. So he strives to determine and control the ends from which he thinks. In his imagination, he dwells in the end, confident that he shall dwell there in the flesh also. He puts his whole trust in the feeling of the wish fulfilled and lives by committing himself to that state. For the art of fortune is to tempt him so to do. Okay, so he even lives in that state within him, like everything is fine in the end, from the external and the internal. Internally, he's thinking like everything is taken care of, all is well, so why would I doubt? And then also in his flesh, in his body, he takes action from a state of courage, knowing that This is my state of being. So every action I take has no choice but to give me what I want. So he's taking the courage. He's building a business. He or she is building a business. They're taking that risk. They're moving to that new city. They're applying for that new school. They're going up and they're talking to that person, because I'm in my end. Everything has to lead me to exactly what I desire, whether or not my senses appears to show me moving in that direction or not. Okay, the process is not up to me. The how is not up to me. All I have to do is move and allow that end to show up in my reality. Okay, so by committing himself to that state, for the art of fortune is to tempt him to do so. Like the man at the pool of Bethesda, he is ready for the moving of the waters of imagination, knowing that every desire is ripe grain to him who knows how to think from the end. He is indifferent to the mere reasonable probability and confident that through continuous imagination, his assumption will harden into fact. All right. That's just like the wave theory video I was making, talking about how everything is waves and how even your thoughts are brain waves, even the frequency at which you think of what you desire, because you can't have one continuous thought. You can't have one continuous thought. It's like you have to repeat the thoughts over and over and over again. And matter, even matter around you, they can't tell you what it is. It's energy. Every form of energy on this earth is measured in waves. It is insane. So you being able to imagine things, it's almost like you're collapsing your brain waves down into matter when you imagine these things. From the darkness is birthed the light. You close your eyes, it's dark, and in the moment you imagine something, the light is birthed, the image is birthed, and it has no choice but to be projected out into your reality, because the mental is above the physical. I'm just yapping. Whatever comes to my brain, I'm saying it. Okay. But how to persuade men everywhere that thinking from the end is the only living. How to foster it in every activity of man. How to reveal it as the plenitude of life and not the compensation of the disappointment. That is the problem. Okay. It says life is a controllable thing. You can experience what you please once you realize you are his son, and that you are what you are by virtue of the state of consciousness from which you think and view the world. Okay. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Luke 15:31. All that I have is yours. Okay. And the Son is thou ever with me. When I think the Son, I think the Holy Spirit. I think of Jesus. And if Jesus is your conscious mind, that means everything that you can imagine your conscious mind is always with you. That means the universe will have no choice but to give it to you, but to fulfill it. Fulfill what you fulfilled in imagination in your reality. It has no choice but to be projected out. You are God. You are source. You are all that is. You can be separate from nothing. Okay. Once you understand that, the darkness from which the light was birthed from, the way this world was built was the same way that you build things in your imagination. You close your eyes, and the moment you imagine something, it's like that spark, that light is lit, and you can build anything. You can build your entire world with that spark. We're taught to dim that spark. We're taught to allow that spark to be controlled by other things in our reality, by what people say, by the assumptions people make for us. But once you let that go, you can take control of your world. Okay. Thank y'all so much for tuning into this video. I will catch y'all in the next one. My email is going to be linked down below once again. And yeah, peace out.